how do you constitute what actually makes you happy and what's a justified return on your investment?
Good luck to my ancestors.
Hope they're well.
Hope they're well.
Great little caviar.
Very good caviar.
Welcome to this episode of SCULPTED podcast, guys. We had a bit of a hiccup just then. We've probably been recording for like 20 minutes or so. And unfortunately, we had some great chats in there. But unfortunately, I forgot to turn record on for all of the audio. We have the video, but unfortunately... Stupid! Yeah, it was. But nonetheless, we wrote down all of our notes so we don't forget what we spoke about. Because we actually got some great conversations in. Like, it's going to suck that we have to go back on it. Because it's going to feel like a little bit recycled. But nonetheless, the way that I kicked it off last time was a bit of context to Jack. So Jack isn't in this episode, and nor was he in the last. Actually, additionally, on the last episode that was meant to go out today, that you're seeing now, the audio also stuffed up again there. So, yeah, there's hiccups all the time in this podcast. We're 163 episodes in. It's gonna get even more hectic. This is just what happens in production. Things go wrong. Yeah, we're young. We're learning. This is just what happens. I do admit I am in production myself, and so is Charlie. So it's not a great start that we're both stuffing up. But I'll take. Yeah, that's my bad. So we'll continue to get better. Bear with us, to all the listeners and to all the viewers. Hopefully, it's a nicer experience. As you can see, we're on the back deck as usual. And yeah, it should be a good episode to get into. But Jack isn't with us, unfortunately. Jack will be with us next episode. And there'll be a bit of progress there as well on Jack's side. So a lot of things are happening in both Jack and my personal life in terms of career advancements. So that's really cool. Jack's now doing assistant coaching for the football team at his university. And he's got his first game. Yeah. Congrats, Jack. Big congratulations. So that's cool. Unfortunately, though, to give a bit of caviar to why, or context, sorry, not caviar. We do love caviar though, and if you are listening, caviar brands, please, business@sculpted.site. We would love to get in contact with you and do a brand deal. But yeah, giving context to why Jack is now a coach is unfortunately, Jack can't play football ever again. So that's a bit of a crazy one. I would probably want to give that to Jack to give context now, actually. I probably shouldn't have just dropped that bomb, but we'll probably speak about it in the future. Unfortunately, Jack's had a few issues with his knee, and now he's gone into coaching. He'd always been doing coaching, but now, yeah, arguably at a higher level, which is cool for him. But alongside his psychology degree and everything that he's doing there, we've also now got Jack as a co-founder for the SCULPTED app, which is really cool. So Jack now joins the co-founding team, and we're also looking for a technical co-founder at the moment as we open our first round of funding. Now, what opening our first round of funding even means is essentially we are looking to get investment. We want people to invest in our company so that we can scale at a big level. Now, scaling a company is not easy, especially with limited capital. All of my personal capital is being reinvested into everything that we're doing right now. It's being reinvested into the gear that you see being used. It's being reinvested into the guys you see behind the camera. It's being reinvested into the app that you use on your phone. Everything is being reinvested and put back into what you guys see here. So, yeah, things are moving, and there's some exciting things happening at the moment with the SCULPTED podcast, with the SCULPTED app, and all things SCULPTED. Even the boys behind the camera. As I gave a bit of a shout out to them before, it feels a little bit plastic that I'm giving them like a fake shout out now. So, boys, you've already heard what I've said about you and my thanks to you, but I'll say it to the listeners as well to give a bit of context to what the amount of effort and the amount of work that they put into these episodes. But big thank you to the boys behind the camera. For context, Alfio puts in a lot of work to the episode structure. He puts in the segments. He organizes everything in a massive Notion page. He puts in overtime. He puts in hours, and I'm extremely grateful for him. And it's the exact same thing with Charles. Learning, understanding, being a part of it. Charles has actually done quite a bit of travel with us. So, yeah, it's extra curriculum. Very, very grateful for the work that they do. So, for the listeners, context, everything that they're working on. And they just had a cute little moment behind the camera as well. So, very proud of them. Very thankful. And, was that a kiss? All right, back in. So, big shout out to these boys. Very thankful, and extend that to the team, the rest of the team on the SCULPTED app. A lot of people have been putting in some extra hours there, and extremely grateful for them as well. So if there are any of the app crew listening, big up yourself. Thank you. We've been doing some really cool things. There's a massive bug. I don't know what that is. Jeez. Yeah, putting in some absolute work, putting in a shift, every single one of them. So thank you to everyone. It's very cool to see what we're putting come to fruition. There's 24 of us now, and it's really cool to get people involved who are, friends as well, and to see things progress. So over the next few months, as I mentioned, the funding round will be opening, and we'll try and scale the app as quickly as possible, but also as reasonably as possible. We've got a very, very clear plan, and we'll go over it a little bit later on the pitch deck as well. But we also want to get these boys remunerated properly behind the camera. Essentially, right now, they're taking a hit in terms of time, and I value their time. So really trying to make sure that we get the most out of the time we have and level up everything production-wise, content-wise, entertainment-wise, everything. Really trying to just get things moving. So this episode will be a little bit more tranquilo, but here for the ride. There'll be some good parts in here as well. So yeah, you'll be here for the ride. But Alfia, maybe you can take us through the first segment.
All right. We'll go back to that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jeff Bezos used to do this side hustle as a kid. A little YouTube video by Nick here, or given to us by Nick, sourced by Nick. Let's check it out.
Unethical Ways to Make Money, Part 94. First, you're going to take the bus to Walmart and purchase bread and laxatives. Then, once you leave the store, you're going to pull out a Ziploc bag. You will throw the laxatives into that Ziploc bag and then crush up the laxatives so they become a fine powder. Once you have this fine powder of laxatives, you will coat this powder on some of that bread you just purchased. Then, you will walk toward the busiest parking lot in your city. And once there, you will pull out the laxative-coated bread and start to throw pieces of it on the floor. This will cause thousands of pigeons to start flocking to the parking lot. They will begin to eat the bread with laxatives, and once they fly into the air, they will violently shit on all of the cars in the parking lot. Luckily for these car owners, at the exit of the parking lot, they will see you with a bucket, a rag, and a cardboard sign that says $25 for a car wash. Since these drivers don't want to be embarrassed driving into town with bird shit all over their car. Make money or
Thoughts, comments, queries, questions?
What could go wrong with this? We'll start with that.
Well, firstly, big up to this guy because he's taking initiative. He's creating a problem, and he's finding a solution to it, and we respect that. Similar to our boy Mario with the retirement village as well, creating a demand and then finding a solution. That's our real entrepreneurial spirit that we love to see, and it's encouraged around here. But to answer your question, Alfio, what can go wrong? Well, there's a few things, and again, it feels a little bit plastic and recycled for us to go through it again. But we'll act like we don't know the answers. So there's a few things that could go wrong with that. And in my mind, the scalability is probably a big thing. He needs more people. He needs more hands on deck. And there's going to be a lot of scheisse. Quite a lot of scheisse.
And a lot of cars.
And a lot of cars.
And one person.
One man. So we probably need one man on the tools. We might even need a salesman. Could need a salesman up front saying, "Hey guys, get your car wash for $25. Got to convert more people. I thought that was yeah, got to convert people, and then we got to get more hands on deck. You know, there's got a lot of cars to clean. But the other thing is it's a demand thing. The churn rate, it's extremely high. You know, he's only going to get a returning customer if they're dumb, and there probably won't be too many returning customers. They're probably just going to go to find another car park because they know that those birds love to caca all over them cars. So I love the hustle. Big up yourself, Jeff Bezos. I think that's his name.
Did Jeff Bezos really do this? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Although, big up Jeff Bezos. Hope he's well friend of the pod. Maybe you could make his first cameo on the SCULPTED podcast. Could he do that? Again, probably not. But we may as well put it out there because we're ambitious, boys. And that's something that all SCULPTED team members are, is ambitious.
Actually, speaking about ambition, it's funny you say that because on the weekend, I went for my little sauna session. Went in there, was trying to lock in for those 30 minutes. And
30 minutes is crazy.
Yeah, well, I had this older man, and he was as soon as I got in there, yapping my ear off. I gave him a couple. That's crazy. You know,
That's crazy, man.
really wow. But he didn't get the point. But he did have some interesting things to say. For context, I won't give out his name for privacy reasons, but he had divorced his wife, not recently, but he had divorced his wife of 25 years. Kids already grown up, so he didn't have any obligation for the kids, or not as much anymore since they're adults. And he had a IT software company that he ran as a CEO and made quite a good coin off. And I was trying to find out what the secret was to living the lifestyle that he lives, since he told me he had traveled all around the world and seen many things, and that's been something that I've been wanting to do. And the main thing when he got to the point eventually was that you can buy that watch or that 50K car or all those unnecessary things that you purchase out of boredom or for status. That is what is inherently blocking your road to success if you were defining that by finances. Rather, you should be focusing on what you can invest your money in and looking for a return in your purchases rather than the brief happiness of materialistic items. So, do you agree with these, what he's saying there?
I would say that the one take that I'll have on this is talking about the return on investment here. And when I think about what you've said there, and the main point at the end is the return on investment, that's where your money should be focused on. When we think about the materialistic things, whether it's the shoes, whether it's the car, whether it's the watch, how do you quantify the return on investment? I mean, that's a thing that... I actually listened to something interesting the other day from... Who was it? It was someone who's very wise that was speaking with Luke Belmar. Now, Luke Belmar is someone who a lot of people don't like because he's quite polarizing, but he's got a lot of wise things to say, and I was surprised that this person had spoken with him. I can't really remember who it was, but the long story short was that Luke Belmar gave the advice of don't look for eternal... Oh, David Fogarty. Speaking of... You're good? You're speaking of David Fogarty. David Fogarty is the founder of the UDI, and he was saying that you shouldn't actually pay attention to the ROI on specific things. Now, in my mind, I would agree with him, but I'd also caveat that with saying that pay attention to the ROI when you're really needing to. Like, at our young, humble age of 20 years old, and for Alfio 19, we should be thinking about the ROI, but in the future, you kind of get into this mindset where, like, even the time that I spend with specific people becomes what's the ROI with spending time with those people, and it becomes much more transactional than it ever thought to be. And don't get me wrong, I do inherently believe things are transactional, although I would like to believe that, like, be aware that you should try and make things almost feel as if they're untransactional. And that's actually been a bit of a lesson with Jack and myself in our relationship, is like, we know that at the end of the day, the reason why we're friends is because it is a transaction. Either the time that we spend together is we feel better, or we feel, let's say Jack and I put in 2 hours, we feel like we get 5 hours back, or we feel like we at least get 5 hours back in terms of like a different type of compensation. So essentially what we put in is less than what we get out. And that's the type of thing that you want. That is return on investment. So in all things, that's why a friendship is actually quite difficult to manage when you think of it in a transaction. So for example, with Jack and I being so close and actually having a return on investment in specific things, like, how do we constitute that? Well, we basically just have to forget it. And it's like, the way that I get around it is, if I was to ever buy or do something for Jack, I have to completely forget about me doing it. Because as soon as I start to hold that against him or vice versa, then it's too transactional. Even though that happened and it's still a thing, you just have to forget about it. And that's the exact same with the boys behind the camera. If vice versa, I do something for them, they do something for me, we forget about it, because although everything is transactional, it's better to think about things not being transactional.
Caveat though.
Yeah.
Sort of, because we're more speaking on what's important.
Yeah, what constitutes as ROI.
Yeah, exactly. And what's important when you're trying to build your empire and your finances. So
I think before you're talking about investing in yourselves.
Yeah. that's where I was going to go next. That was probably just a point that I had actually only thought of when you said it again. And I think that's a good point because, yeah, it is a bit of a caveat. But I'll go on to the point that you bring up now, which is investing in yourself. Now, I've always heard so much noise about investing in a high interest bank account. I mean, that's pretty easy, to be fair. Anyone can do that. I can do it. Whether it's investing in stocks, crypto, Forex, whatever it is, you should be investing your money into something that gives you a high ROI. Now, I think that that's very relevant and it's good for people to do so. But in my opinion, for where I am and who I am, I would much rather bet on myself. And the reason why I think that I would much rather bet on myself is because I have much more control over myself than the stock market. And that's not necessarily to say that it's safer, the stock market, or vice versa. I just prefer to bet on myself because the amount of time that it takes for me to actually become good at investing in those specific things or educating myself on it, I've probably lost a lot of personal time that I could have spent with myself that I could get a higher ROI on. And for context, we're so there's like a facade of famous people where it's like they are subhuman. They've done things completely different to me, and I will never become them. The reality is that they are the exact same human being as you. They just chose different decisions. They just live a different life. And in this case, I would always bet on myself because I know myself best. I don't know the stock market the best. I'm always going to put my money into me. And it may be cocky, it may be egotistical, but I always say this, and I've said it to some crazy people before as well, and it makes me look like a bit of a mug, but I back this. And I actually spoke about it with Jack the other day, and we're talking about how like my blissful ignorance of the world helps me. I know that it is blissfully ignorant, but I also prefer to live in this blissful ignorance at times. But it's also, I don't reject reality. I'm also very, analytical with reality, but I prefer to live in my blissful ignorance. And if there was a room of 1 million people in that room, and let's say the goal was to do X objective, assuming that it's not biometric, I would bet on myself to do it. If we're all starting at a similar position, let's say it's a bunch of 20-year-olds who have just finished school, I would always bet on myself, assuming that we're all at a similar level. And it's egotistical, it's cocky of me, but I do bet on myself because I have so much proof and all of the attributes in betting on myself that I know it yields higher return. And in this case, I still firmly believe in my situation, if I was to put $100,000 into the stock market, real estate, or whatever, and I had the option to bet on myself and give myself the $100,000 to spend wisely and to invest in something that I can create, very much build myself, I'd give myself the 100K. And I stick by that. I stay by that. I'm yet to be proven otherwise. I'm very open to be proving otherwise. Situationally, whether Alfio is the exact same, would Alfio bet on yourself? Alfio, would you bet on yourself?
Yeah, for most things.
For most things? Charles?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I think that trust is something that you build up with yourself. And I think that the conviction that you might bring to betting on yourself is different to the conviction Alfio brings. And it's also different to the conviction that I bring. And the reason why I'm so convicted is because I know when I say something, I do it. And if I fail to the expectation, I know that I'll at least be okay with that. And it's almost ties into what we were saying last week, Alfio, with Germany for me. And I explained to you how I actually didn't see Germany as like unsuccessful. I saw it as I didn't have an exact objective to go overseas and play in Germany. Although, no matter the outcome, whether it was good or bad, I mean, in my case, I actually was thinking about this. My dad said it was a really good question that you asked, Alfio. And I was thinking, one thing that I hadn't made too publicly known was when I finished my time in Germany, I was actually at the height of my football career. I'd just been in talks through my coach in Bayreuth, the 3rd division team in Germany that I was playing with, that Borussia Mönchengladbach were interested in me. And that took me. I couldn't breathe. I've got notes in my phone from that exact moment when it happened, because all of my life that I'd been working on football had led up to this moment when my coach walks through the door. I'm in the gym 3 hours before training, and he knows that I'm there because I'm always there early and always putting in extras. And he walks through the door. He'd barely spoken to me properly before. He has okay English, and he's like, do I do the accent?
Yes.
Okay. Wait. Roleplay. Good door?
Yeah, good.
Okay. So Nick, had a call with Hansi. Hansi is so old. technical director at Borussia Mönchengladbach. And Hansi had told me that the under 23s, the U23, had gesagt, they're looking for a new goalkeeper. And they said they know you and they are interested in having you on trial in the next few months. So I hope that we can make something work. You don't have to worry about the situation in Bayreuth. I used to play at Gladbach. This feels crazy. I used to play at Borussia Mönchengladbach when I was younger, and we have a very good relationship, so you can play there. It's the same times that you train here, and that's no problem. So Gladbach is a much bigger team than Bayreuth, and you can play. Good accent, boys?
Thank you. Question. What is play?
Huh?
I swear a few times I hate to say play.
Maybe Hansi. Was it Hansi?
You said you don't have to play.
Oh, worry.
Well, yeah, play.
Worry. So you don't have to worry. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because remember, it's V. When you do it.
No, we're going to Germany here. We're not.
Yeah, we're not being.
We don't even want to say the word.
We're not. Yeah, because we're not.
We're not.
We're inclusive around here.
Yes.
We will make fun of all races.
Yes.
Quite openly as well. So if you want to see my Vietnamese, check out the last episode. But yeah, so big ups the coach in Germany. If you didn't understand a word that I said, basically my coach said he used to play at Gladbach, the under-23s coach at Gladbach. Context to the context is on LinkedIn, I was always really, really connected with Gladbach. I had a few coaches who had previously been speaking with coaches at Gladbach, and they were interested apparently from my videos that I'd been posting, and everything kind of led up to this moment. My coach used to play there. He's friends with the under-23s coach, etc., etc. They saw my stuff. They knew I was in Bayreuth, and in this moment, I had just been told that it looks like I will be on trial with Borussia Mönchengladbach and I can sign with Gladbach. Heart drops. I'm thinking, this is the moment. This is the moment. So for me, Germany was I over-exceeded what I ever thought I could even do in Germany. So to bring that fully back to the caviar is I bet on myself through LinkedIn. I bet on myself through investing all my time in myself. And through this process, I have learned that I yield the highest return on my investment. Now, there will probably be a situation where I could yield a higher return from, let's say, real estate, and then I could use that capital to then reinvest into myself. Yes, very aware of that. Although in this situation, because I don't even have the background in real estate, I'd have to learn everything new. It's a new thing for me. I know myself from the beginning. I've always had a very strong conviction of myself from when I was young. Therefore, because of that knowledge and that prior existence of myself, it made sense for me to always bet on myself. Now, do you boys behind the camera have any thoughts, comments, queries, questions on that? Because we obviously kind of went everywhere.
Well, I was just going to say, basically, to sum up everything you said, you're pretty much just saying to bet on yourself, especially if you have qualities or skills that you believe can make you successful. Although the point that the old man was trying to convey is spend your money wisely, generally in the broader scheme of things.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I brought up before that what would traveling be compared to that?
Yeah. Like, is traveling something that yields high ROI? And what we were saying actually was, Charles, you're going overseas.
Yes.
Will you come back with $1 million in your pocket?
No, certainly not.
What will you come back with?
Less money.
The riches of the mind.
Richer memories, but...
Richer memories.
Yeah, richer memories.
I also think that your horizon, your perception on things will change. I actually think that one thing might be is I don't know how aware you are to your privilege. I would say that you probably are more. Context, these two behind the camera are very emotionally intelligent boys. I think that they are very aware of their privilege. I would say that Jack is someone who is extremely aware of his privilege, and he's someone who made me even more aware of my privilege. The fact that we're able to not worry about the next day for us at 8:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, the fact that we're able to do that is an insane privilege. Like, we are actually the exception to the rule in life. Like, most people in the world are worrying about their next day. We actually have the privilege that we don't have to. And we're so privileged that we also have a camera worth, X amount of thousands of dollars that's filming us, and then we're posting it to more people. To even be in this position, we're insanely privileged. And I think, Charles, when you go overseas, you will also start to see, and you probably won't even see the opposite of privilege. You'll probably see more privilege, but then you'll start to realize that they are even more than the exception of your privilege. And I think that's going to be a massive thing for you when you go overseas.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I will come back a changed person for sure.
Yeah.
Things can open my eyes to just everything.
Yeah. Alfie, you've done a little bit of travel yourself. When you were much younger, you did a lot of travel. Not that you remember too much, but they're right.
I do remember some of it for sure. Like, I mean, not the one when not traveling Europe when I was 1 year old.
Yeah. You didn't come back with $1 million in your pocket back then,
I
did you?
didn't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I do remember traveling in USA though. I think I was like 11 or actually no, definitely not 11. I was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
I remember that.
And what do you specifically remember? Was it just memories, like nice memories?
Memories. There were some not so nice memories. Like, I mean, walking through LA, it did put into perspective, how other people live. There's a lot of homeless in LA. People just posted up on the side of the road, beggars.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, you see all Hollywood and on the TV the nicer parts, but you don't usually see all the low socioeconomic areas around there, and there's a lot of that around there.
Actually, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but what I was trying to say before with the traveling is that because you were talking about how he was talking about spending money on like $50,000 cars, is traveling at a young age considered a waste of money? Sorry, because that's not really investing in your future. You're investing in just like your own
Well,
current self.
well, this man that I spoke to, prioritized his happiness over his money. He actually told me that
In hindsight, though.
in hindsight, that's very important that it wasn't hindsight.
Yeah.
Because he told me that if he could trade his company and all his money just to go back and be young like we were again and to experience everything he has experienced again, he would do that in a heartbeat.
I have a interesting take on that, which is I think that if he was to have done that and be in the position that he is now, and nothing would have changed but his experiences, and he's still in the same position, then I think that's sure. He probably spiderweb. I think that he would still hold that position. But the reality is, if he had done all of that stuff, he probably wouldn't be in the position that he is now. It's the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect. I don't think he would be in that position. And I think that he would have the exact opposite regret, which would be, I wish that I didn't travel. I wish that I did work, because it's always the grass is greener on the other side.
Well, you always want what you don't have. That's just how we are as humans.
Exactly. So it's in his situation, and this is something that I'm very okay with, and I've always been very okay with, is that I know that for the pursuit that I want to go down, I have to sacrifice so many things that the friends that I had in school, the time that I had, the great times that I had, I know that I will miss a lot of those things. I mean, whenever I catch up with these boys behind the camera, just personally, we're always talking about these times that we had together, and then there's so many gaps from the 4 years that I hadn't been in contact with either of them, really. It was like, there's so many gaps there. And that's just something I knew was going to be part of the process. Now, even outside of these boys, although these were my closest friends in school, take those guys out of the picture, there's even people who I haven't spoken to since school, or even longer ago, that there's a 10-year gap in. And I actually even met up with one, like, when I first got back from Germany. It's like, there's a 10-year gap since we last spoke. It's wild. And I know that that's just it's a nature of the beast. And if I have such ambitious goals, I can't do what the average person does. And it's like, I just have to be okay with whatever comes my way, whether it's feeling unhappy, whether it's feeling lonely, whether it's any negative trait or behavior or feeling that happens. I just know that that's the nature of the beast. And if I wasn't feeling those things, then I'm probably not getting to where I want. And I think in this guy's situation, he'd probably be complaining about being poor if he'd actually done what he wanted. And maybe that's what he's actually okay with in the long term. Maybe he's okay with being poor. But I would assume.
I guess for that stuff, it comes down to what is more important. What do you find more important, being rich materialistically or being happy?
Well, I would say in this guy's situation, he is rich.
Relationships, because in your circumstance, you missed out on certain relationships that
you
could have flourished. You don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have. You just don't know.
Yeah. I'd say this guy's rich in the mind, and maybe not the soul as much. I think a big part of that for us, Alfie, is obviously being a Christian. I think that I will always try and keep that as, my North Star, you could say. I don't want to let that slip. Therefore, I always strive to be rich of the soul. I may not be, but I will strive to be. I think that's an important thing. And Charles, that's the same with you. Obviously, not as a Christian yourself, but I'm sure that's something that you strive to be. It's not like you want to. It's not like you strive to not be rich of the soul.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
It's like no one's that dumb, but it's something that people may neglect if they aren't aware to it. Again, thankfully, you're aware. So it's like if you ever see it slip, you're not gonna really want it or let it slip. Do you guys have any other points on that?
No.
There was one other thing that I was thinking of saying that.
Story time saw in Germany.
Yeah, that is the next thing. But I think there was even another point on that, but I can't remember. It might pop up back into my head. But that is a really interesting story about this guy, I reckon. I mean,
Just like he did have some value to his yap. It was just I was
Yeah.
sitting in the sauna and trying to concentrate
Oh, I
on not
know.
dying and trying to concentrate on this guy's conversation.
yeah.
Two things I couldn't do at the same time.
Oh, I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about, and that's what brings us on to Nick's sauna stories in Germany.
Mm.
So,
No, wait. So was his point that to invest in your future?
oh, actually, yeah, bring it back. Yeah,
His point was to not waste your money on things that mean nothing or will do nothing for you. Like just like getting a new pair of kicks because you want to look cool. That's the point.
yeah.
So
So
you can survive with a Toyota Yaris. Why buy a 24 Hilux?
Yeah.
If you don't need it. That's pretty much what he was telling me.
hmm,
And that was to suit his goal of traveling.
yeah. So is it in his case? Is it saying put the money where what makes you happy? But it's also like
Yes, sir.
what makes you happy may not. Okay,
Could be the 24 Hilux that makes me happy.
but it also may be what you think makes you happy may not actually be the thing that makes you happy, and what makes you happy now may not be the thing that makes you happy in the future. And when I think about that from a return on investment perspective, if I think that my happiness is more important now at the age of 20 than it is when I'm 50 or when I'm 60 or when I'm 70, it's like, oh, if I'm happy now and I travel for 20 years and I waste all of my money on being happy when I'm 20, but now that I'm 50 or 70 and I've got no money to my name and now I'm homeless because I've spent all my money traveling because I wanted to be happy when I was 20, and now I'm the most unhappy that I've ever been. Obviously, extreme polar opposites and extreme. It's a very extreme example that I've given, but it's like, how do you constitute what actually makes you happy and what's a justified return on your investment?
Video assistant referee in use for the first time in the Bundesliga. What's it going to be? And he's had a look at it, the referee, to be a stealer.
Wait, what is that? Is that a boss? Wait.
It's a cicada.
Was it?
Yeah. Pour that over in a cicada.
It's still there. It's still.
Hold on. You're safe.
It flew in my shirt.
I think it's
No, it's fine.
big on.
It's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, it's.
Damn, Sherlock too.
Flex for you.
Yeah.
Wait.
Jumping fun.
What was before?
Maybe. It's a good thing.
That was all instinct as well. Didn't even
And
think.
it's funny. I was just about to say something as well.
Really?
And that just got.
That's the funniest thing, bro. All my days. Jeez. That spun me, bro. That spun me. I'm crying.
You know what would have been perfect for that? As soon as it happened to... Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's inside out. Oh.
Yeah.
Not coming back. Alright. The funniest thing, bro.
I just cut that like coffee.
Oh, bro. That was timing. Oh, we're keeping that in. That was fun. Okay. Charles, maybe you can land.
I can. Sorry, where were we? I think you were directing the conversation on how prioritizing your happiness now over when you're 50 or 60.
Yes.
And I agree with that statement a lot. But I think you can't be naive in assuming that your future is guaranteed as well.
Privilege.
Definitely.
Yes, that's actually a very good point. So it's such an awkward thing to manage. It's like, is my short-term happiness better for me now, assuming that I still get tomorrow?
Yeah. Because by assuming that you're saying that, oh, I have all this time.
50 years left.
You have that time. But
Yeah.
I mean, no one knows.
No one does know. But then it's like, it's almost, you have to find an even ground to where it's like, I want to be relatively happy now, but I also am aware that I also want to be happy in the future. Are there more?
I don't see it.
That's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Right,
Oh.
you are scared of insects, like in general.
It's the unknowingness of them. That's huge. Imagine if that...
They can't hurt you. It's a Christmas baby.
Yeah, but it's uncomfortable, bro. And it's also not knowing. I would be okay with this crawling on me. Whoa! I'd be okay with it crawling on me, but I don't want it sneak attacking me like that because I thought I was being killed. I thought someone had shot me with a
Well,
bullet.
what is the total influx of beds?
It's the lie. That's why. Okay. I genuinely thought I'd been shot. I'd been trumped. Gosh. Martin. No. I don't know. Gosh. Oh, I need my pillow back. I'm gonna rub some hands or somewhere. Oh, whoa.
I think we were just saying it's important to find a middle ground.
Yes, the middle
how one
ground.
does that? I don't know.
Yeah, how does one find that? Because it's always like, imagine if I spend my 20s and then I die when I'm 30, but I've had a really cool time. It's like, oh, well, that was the best year of my life. That was such a good decision because I didn't have the rest of my years to live.
That sounds like a rock star.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. And then maybe that is just a good out. Maybe that's just a good innings. Huh. That's a dilemma that humans just have to live every single day by. These bugs, man. I can't be shot like that again. It went straight in my shirt.
Nah, that's why you took it off, obviously.
Yeah. It went straight in my shirt. This is in slow-mo as well, thankfully. So I'm going to slow-mo this back. And, bro, I swear to you, it went straight in. It saw the tiniest opening and flew straight in that thing. It's above you guys. Yeah. It just goes to lights. Oh, anyways. Okay. I think we can close that.
Carry on.
Oh, wait. The Germany thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to brush over this quickly. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to put you through this. Anyways. Germany. Saunas.
2 hours later.
Oh, the longest 2 hours. Germany, saunas. Okay. In Germany and in this part of Europe, in Hungary, the Hungarians are known for it. They love nudity. So it's just normal part of society. The Germans, they know nothing but nudity. Yeah. They love nudity in Germany and in Hungary as well. So it's just a part of the culture. They don't question it. But you're just showering with everyone and anyone, and everyone's just naked, bro. And it's uncomfortable for someone who knows nothing but undies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's on me.
It's on you.
Alright, it's time for it to die now.
You don't attack us like that. Yeah, it will. It's gonna kill us. I'm convinced.
There's 3 now.
Dead. Alrighty. Huh. It's been eventful.
Let's go on from storytime sauna to the juice.
Oh, I didn't even land. I have not even landed though.
Alright, yeah, go.
So-
Let that and then we'll go on to juice.
Okay.
Segment 2.
Oh, yeah. So in Germany, they love nudity and it's just okay there. So long story short, I love undies and I would just go in my undies into saunas.
What do you mean by that?
What sort of undies? Male? Female?
I love to wear undies.
Okay.
I don't want to go in the sauna. You know, free willing. So I would just go in, and I got kicked out of saunas because I wouldn't strip down. And I'd get these old, angry German ladies saying, Unterhosen weg! Unterhosen weg! And I'm like, what do you mean? I just want to wear my undies. And they would have an issue with me not wearing my undies. And let me get to the worst part. I'm in there with everyone else, and they're not wearing undies either.
Did you at least get to wear a towel?
Bro, you are only allowed a towel to put your... So essentially, you're allowed a towel, okay? You walk in with the towel, you take it off, but you put the towel down onto the surface, and then you have to just sit like this at the sauna with legs spread open. And if you don't want them spread, you do one of these. But then everyone can see you, you know.
So the towel goes underneath you.
Yeah, because you
not
have to...
on top of you.
Yeah, because you have to protect the seat. That's why they do it. And so then...
Can you wrap the towel underneath and then on top?
Yeah, you can. Like, that would be my way of doing it. But then, what happened? I feel like it just wouldn't be allowed most of the time. Like, you just wouldn't... Yeah, you wouldn't just allowed to sit with your towel like that. And then... Okay, this is the whole... It's been leading up to this moment for the past 20 minutes. Zipper. Zipper. I felt on my leg.
Oh, boy.
Sorry. Okay. 70-year-old coach. We're going to the sauna. I'm 15. I'm with the under 19s. Oh, damn it. The speaker just died. It's all good. I'm with the coach, 70 years old.
Oh, still coming out of that.
Yeah, it's all good. 70 years old and Schwangerschaft out. Mannschaft out. And he's 70 years old, decrepit. And we have to go into the sauna with this guy. And I couldn't believe it. This is the first time I'd ever gone in a public sauna with other people. And you've just got old women, bro. And they're loving it. You just see them giggling. And then
Keep doing it, seeing that young thing.
the youngest of fangs. And also, the craziest lineup ever. It's like, you look South Korea, Albania, Italy, America, Australia, and you just see every single guy lined up, the whole football team going into this sauna with just grannies, bro.
So, where is this place just for research purposes?
Asking for a friend?
Yeah, just asking for a friend.
The whole of Germany, bro.
Okay.
It's just so foreign to us. And it's like, you're just walking in, and also, yeah, I'm just there with my coach who's 70 years old, just manshaft out. It's...
Wait, so at this point, were you hanging dry?
At this specific place, I wore undies.
Oh, you were on anything?
I wore undies.
Okay.
It's typically in Bavaria where you kind of like get just kicked out for not wearing undies. I was in a different state at the time, and
It's crazy that that's not considered sexual harassment.
exactly my point. I'm 15 and I'm with a 70-year-old coach.
Jack, we're gonna have to cut that.
No comment. One of the craziest questions being asked on this podcast so far. Yeah, it was nuts, and I don't mean that literally. No, I do mean that literally. And yeah, you're just walking out, everyone just naked, and it's so uncomfortable because, like, for an Australian who knows nothing but undies, it's like I can't even understand that. And Charles, if you're going to Czech Republic,
Yes.
I don't think that they're as like German or Hungarian as Hungary or Germany. Hungary and Germany, bro, they have zero care in the world. They'll just walk out. No care in the world. It's crazy. Caviar.
I heard Czech is pretty loose, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's where Prague is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard the clubs in Prague go off.
That's what I almost came for, Prague.
Yeah? Yeah, you said you are came from Prague. The motherland. Oh, gosh. All right. Next Segi.
So we're going on to the juice.
Yes, the juice. Oh, there is some good juice in here, but we've actually got into some pretty deep stuff already.
So you wanna go into the chill stuff then?
There was one good thing in the juice that I wanted to talk about, I think. Could you get it up for me?
Should be up. It's not up.
No. Yeah, just reconnect. I can't remember exactly what the juice was, but I put a few things in there yesterday.
No, there is some good juice. I read through it.
Yeah?
It's good.
I think that the big point... Oh, there was when you're 40 years old. That might be something we could do quickly. There's like 20 points that we could go through, and we could just say yes, no, indifferent. Is it working?
No.
Damn.
Is it just meant to come up? Oh. No. Hold on.
Ducking and weaving.
Yeah, right. It
Maybe you can read the options out to me, maybe.
Alright. So I'll read the headings.
Yeah. Thank you.
Number 1, dealing with opinions.
Oh, okay, that's... Yeah.
you should be smart enough to realize this, and then you gotta
Yeah,
pick
40.
the dot
Yeah.
points. And what is there to be scared of? So which one are we going with?
We'll go with dealing with opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Do you want me to read it out?
no, I got this. Yeah, that's all good. Thank you. So, dealing with opinions. When I was much, much younger, I would really struggle with other people's opinions. I would still say there are specific components of my life, which you boys definitely know which it is, that murk me. And it's like, I just can't deal with specific thoughts or patterns or whatever it is. It's not what you say, it's not what the next person says. It's a specific instance where that will just be on my mind. And do you guys know exactly what I'm talking about? It's just on my mind. How do you think? You know?
Yeah.
Think Notion page, yeah?
Yeah.
I just haven't got to the point. And that's why I say to you both, this is what my life was always like when I was younger. It would be any thought or opinion would absolutely obliterate me for the week. And it's like, I just wouldn't think of anything else. It wouldn't really affect too much about how I act.
Marco, do they come in women's size? Do they come in men's size with the shoes?
Oh, okay.
Can you give us an example?
That's probably an example.
Yeah.
I used
Old school Nick got.
to have like rainbow shoes. That was sick as shoes, by the way. I would still wear them.
They were
I think I mentioned that.
I thought they
Yeah.
were cool shoes.
Nah, this was like, I'm surprised you.
I saw them. I think I saw them because I was towards the end of year 7. You still wore them.
No, that would have been year 6.
Yeah.
But maybe that was an extension of it.
Towards the start of year 7, you still wore them probably.
See, I'm thinking it might have even been before that. You probably just heard the joke still.
No, I saw you wearing those shoes. Maybe I saw you at church with them once.
It was possibly that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I used to wear the sickest Rocher runs, Flyknit Rocher runs, multicolored. Still my favorite shoes to date. Would cop a pair instantly. And yes, they come in women's sizes, and I would cop them as well. So, yeah, like that would murk me, bro. But it's like, now that means nothing to me.
That did murk you.
It would 100% murk me. And I don't know what it is, but it's also one reason why I'm so detached from things, because I know how much things murk me. So I just detach from things like that. But I've got to the point where I actually can dissect it, and I know instantly, which is my main point. But you guys know how the next part of me evolving as a person, becoming better, is exactly what I'm talking about, which the cameras can't know about for political reasons.
Okay, but just for the audience, should we tell them like the little funny thing that happened when you were younger that hurt you, the opinion that hurt you? Charles doesn't even know the story of.
Land?
We'll just do they come in men's size?
Yeah, I kind of went over that, no?
You didn't tell the story. People don't really understand what's
Okay.
going on.
Okay, you land on your thoughts then, Alfio.
Oh well, I was just gonna recap the story.
Okay.
You know it better than me.
Well, I thought that I can't explain it. So like, I just got a pair of nice Rocher runs. I loved them. They were my pride and joy, and I loved shoes, and they were rainbow colored Rocher runs. My favorite thing ever. I had like, they were $120. I think it would have been like year 4, Alfio. But nonetheless, I saved up my young pennies. I went to Pacific Fair at in the Gold Coast. Big up to Gold Coast, one of my favorite places in the world. Would 100% go there and cop another pair of women's sizes. And yeah, they were women's sizes. I'll admit it.
I think what he's missing there is when they were at the Fleece Carnival.
Oh, okay.
Was it?
This is
Oh, this is what I heard. All right,
Okay.
This is just the bit that I was trying to fill in. When Tim was like, "Oh, nice shoes, Nick. Did they come in men's size?"
This probably was, again, like that's probably just the in joke. It just
Okay.
would have been consistent.
So this is just coming down the grapevine.
This
I'm
is-
just
This is probably
I'm
like,
not the primary source.
yeah, it's not a problem source. Facts. It was probably so consistent that I don't even remember that specific one
Yeah.
because it was just constant, bro.
Oh, it was a constant thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was a one-time thing.
Nah, but it would murk me.
Yeah, right.
I'd be,
my Mercury, like, fuck you.
You would get upset.
yeah, like it would be on my mind. Like genuinely, I remember there was this one time where there's this one thing, and there's bullets. They're coming for me, bro. And there was this one thing. I actually don't even really remember what it was, but it just shook me. And I remember for like a week straight, I would train, and this was like I was just getting to football, so it would have been like year 8 or so, and it would just be on my mind. And I had no way of dealing with it, and it was just personal. Everything was just personal for me. Long story short, I think that's relatable for a lot of people who are self-aware, but they're not so self-aware that they then have an action point to get out of it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but would you guys also say that like opinions when you were much younger would affect you much more than they do now?
I still think opinions do affect me.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm trying to get to the point where they don't.
Okay.
but to be completely honest.
Probably, yeah, I'm doubtful.
Okay, because I've gotten to the point where only one type of opinion really like gets to me. Anything outside of that, calm, because I've done so much work on it. And that's what I mean by, I think the next step of me becoming better is addressing that, because I've never done it.
I don't think opinions should be a bad thing. I think
I agree.
opinions should matter to you.
Which is that's kind of what my conclusion ties in with.
But I do believe that it's, you know, the stuff like, or do they come in men's size, like, you know, the negative talk or all that sort of stuff that you should learn to block out. But if people have constructive criticism, you got to learn how to define the difference between constructive criticism and somebody just bagging you out. You know what I mean?
I'll give you 3 circumstances. One circumstance, it is true. Another circumstance, it is for, let's say, conversational or social gain. And number 3, it is they don't know you well enough and they're making a misjudgment. So, in my case, I would say a lot of the times where I would feel like belittled would be for situational or social, conversation. For example, it's not even that offensive would say things like that, or like anyone would say, not necessarily like, I'm also sure I would have also said that things that were offensive for social gain. And it's just like that type of feedback, you could say, is typically, it's like taking someone else's feelings and putting it on yourself tenfold, because everyone else now thinks that you're the funny guy. And again, I don't even think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that when you're young, you don't know how to deal with it. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. And I'd say that's consistent for pretty much all kids. And if they don't know how to deal with it and they don't find it offensive, they're probably not even just dealing with it correctly. It's just, you're young. You just don't know how to deal with things. So in that situation, the advice that I'd give to my younger self, or to anyone in that situation, it's like, you just have to hack it until you understand a little bit more about yourself. And the anecdote that I'll give is that if you know yourself, you don't find things offensive. And I'll reverse engineer that whole process. For you guys, this is probably a new concept to you that I haven't spoken to you about, but with Jack, it's what we talk about a lot. And it's actually what the SCULPTED logo is. It stands for 3 pillars, okay? The 3 things that I know that I am, that if anyone ever judges me on something and it doesn't reflect those things, either they're right or they don't know me well enough. So I'll give you these 3 things. And I've got 3 things I've got 3 things that I strive to be every single day in 3 different areas of my life. So personal, faith, and then work. If someone ever says anything to me that is feedback, you could say, outside of those 3 things, then they don't know me well enough. So for example, if someone criticizes my professionalism, I would say, you don't know me well enough. Okay, I've had that before. People have criticized my professionalism, and to me, I just think, okay, that's fine. I understand how you may think that, although you don't know me well enough to really know that professionalism is one of my strengths, let's say. And I mean professionalism in many facets, not just the way that I appear or etc. So if someone actually says, and I use this as the literal filter. So anything that feedback-wise, you could imagine a sifter and a filter here, all different shapes and sizes. Anything that doesn't fit my filter, whether it's a star shape and my filter doesn't have a star shape in there, that means that it will just bounce off the filter. Okay? Anything that doesn't actually reflect who I am will get bounced off because they don't know me well enough. It's just misjudged. And misjudgments are completely fine. I've got no issue with them because I misjudge so many people and vice versa. There's no issue with misjudgments. It just means that they don't know you well enough. Now, if one of those feedback things are true and it's negative and it fits through your hole, let's say it's a circle that falls into your circle and it goes into the filter and it comes out the other side, turns out that was true. And it's actually constructive criticism. Even though it may be delivered differently, it actually has the purpose of truth, which is actually going to just make you better. And let's say for the social gain, it could be true, but it could be delivered poorly, which goes through your filter, but it kind of like disrupts it. And it's like, it makes me feel bad because of the external validation that it gave that person. And I kind of became the butt of the joke. And that's where it becomes a little bit techie. And in Australia, that's quite often the form of criticism. Even with Jack and I, actually, to be fair. Like Jack and I will give each other criticism back at each other that we know is rooted in truth, but it's like we're delivering it more politely. And I have no issue with that as well. And we make jokes about that through the 3 of us as well. Like we'll make jokes about that specific instance. And in that case, it's like delivering a message a little bit nicer. And I don't have a massive issue with it. It's just when you're young, you don't know how to deal with it.
If you're trying to deliver a message, me personally, I would prefer for my friend to just tell me straight up instead of try and make a fool of me out of other people. You know what I mean?
I do agree with you there. How would you say, Alfio, when we spoke on Monday, the feedback that I gave you was?
I didn't think you were doing it in the way you were just explaining. I thought you were just doing it as a mate and just telling me straight up, and I appreciated that.
Would you say that's the type of feedback you'd prefer?
Yeah, for sure. Any time of the day, I prefer someone to just.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I did.
It was my sister opening the window, but I thought that was bugs.
Oh,
Jewel, don't do that again, please.
we'll get this guy in therapy for bugs.
Okay, back on topic. Sorry, Alfio.
No, it's all
That
right.
feedback you prefer?
Yeah, for sure.
I much prefer that feedback as well because I would want someone to give me that type of feedback.
Mm.
I wouldn't say that I have many people giving me that feedback. It's also like, I would say, Alfio, you demand respect, therefore I give you respect. If there was someone who was to not respect me or I don't demand that much respect, then I kind of garner myself a different type of feedback where people just make fun of you. And I'd say that I'm probably a little bit more susceptible to that because I'd say that I come across arrogant and a bit of a prick, therefore people like want to belittle me a little bit.
Like you said, I feel like that's to the people who don't know you very well. There.
Which is why I'm so okay with people not liking me. It's why I can't say that on the podcast. It's why in specific instances I can walk into a place
What
where,
you was gonna say?
sorry,
I'm just wondering what you were gonna say there.
I'll say it without saying it and you'll know what it is, I think. I can work into a specific place and know that not one single person likes me here and be completely okay with it. And I'm not going to treat them any differently because I know that they don't like me. But I will still treat them as if they're normal people and as if they're as valuable as the next person, even though I know that they don't like me, they don't agree with anything I say, and they treat me differently because of it. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Charles, do you maybe...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah? So in that situation, I'm so okay with it because I know that they just don't know me well enough. I also know that they don't want to know me well enough because they've already made an established opinion on me. It's like they won't even put in the groundwork to understand where I come from because they don't like me that much.
Mm.
And it's like, at that point, just don't like me. That's all good with me. And I just have to live with it, and it's okay to me because I know that the people who actually do know me, like you boys, I think that you guys, no matter what I do, within reason, of course, I think that you guys can always understand, at least ideologically, the stance that I come from. And that's also the same with you, I feel. Like, if you ever say anything to me and I'm like evaluating your decision or your process in there, I will judge the way you react, but I also will understand where you come from. And it's the exact same with you, Charles. Like, if you have X action, but I'm like, I actually know where the intention comes from, and I won't give the exact example. But Alfio, if I was to say the curvature and earthature, do you see what I'm saying?
The curvature in Earthshire.
Tranquilo.
Wait, what?
So if
Wait, were you referencing?
yeah.
Is that exactly what you said?
Yes. So in this situation, would you back your boy? I'd back my boy because I know my boy.
Wait, what do you mean? Back your boy how?
It's like, even though you don't know the situation, like, I would say, no, I know what he does. He doesn't do that.
Oh yeah, innocent till proven guilty.
Yeah, innocent.
Sure.
And also, I'm betting on my boy because I know that my boy doesn't do stuff like that. I wouldn't hang out with people who do that. So it's like, and again, whether it's true or not, like in that situation, and hopefully the viewers have no idea what we're talking about. But it's like, if I know my people so much, then I'm going to stand by them. Would you say the same?
Yeah. And even if I do know that person had done something that was morally wrong, I would tell them and be honest with them that it's wrong, but then I would still help them in cleaning up their own mess if I did love them that much, if you understand what I'm saying.
Factual. That's actually a very good point for us, I think. And we can kind of talk about that and be as vulnerable as possible on the podcast. But like, if we speak about a few things, and maybe you can tell me if it's too far off track.
Well, about when I told you this today, we don't want to get too
Yeah.
But that was something that wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like you said, you've come a long way from how you used to
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Like in the past, you would be very judgmental and, you know, you wouldn't take it very well. But these days, you can understand. You tell me how it is.
Yeah.
But you can understand a bit more.
Yeah, I would say I didn't have the emotional awareness to express how I truly felt.
Mm.
Because I also would say that the same judgment that I had back then, I still have now. I just convey it better.
Mm.
And it's because I wouldn't necessarily judge someone for the decisions or the circumstances that there are, but I judge them for the decisions that they make afterwards and then how they redeem that. And again, like, because I know you much better now as well than I did know you back then, and also I can use that information that I have through conversations with you. Kind of like when I bet on myself, I also bet on my boys because I'm not gonna put myself around people who I don't bet on. So in this situation, and I think to go a little bit back to the point of when we started speaking again after like 4 years or so, it's like wrong time.
Sorry. I'm trying to push it out. It's not bad.
I could smell it.
The worst moment. Okay, so we probably didn't speak Alfie for like 4 years. Do you reckon it was maybe 4 years or so? Year 10 to only the beginning of maybe 3.
3 years.
Yeah. But also,
Like not speaking at all, maybe 2 years.
yeah, I think maybe I saw you one time at Coles. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was awkward.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, that was
I
awkward.
don't remember that actually.
Yeah. You know why?
Oh, I do remember that actually. Yeah, in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the most awkward moments for me.
I didn't really find that awkward.
Yeah, but I don't think you might not. I won't say on camera why you didn't find it awkward, but I'll say I could tell you why I found it awkward.
Okay.
But off camera.
Okay, it's okay.
Anyways, like that was, I know how Alfio is actually,
Hmm.
and it's like, I'm not gonna treat you differently. I might distance myself.
Hmm.
And back then, again, I wouldn't have had the emotional intelligence nor the time availability. You just forget.
No, I didn't.
Like one thing for me was time availability. I didn't have the time availability to invest back in you because you know how invested I was into you.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep you accountable.
Mm.
You were my everything.
Yeah, I was your brother.
You were my broski.
Yeah.
And
We were both doing things together for a long time.
for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, we're both going to be at the top doing the same thing.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
I don't blame you.
So yeah, that's why it was like, for me, I always had the trust in you to get to a specific point. But that's why, although like in my opinion, I probably cut you off, I also always wanted you to be back in my life. I think I remember saying this to you, bro, recently, but also ages ago. I'm crying.
Yeah.
Like I always used to say, like, I would always envision getting old together, bro. And having a family, not together. That's crazy. But like, obviously our kids growing up together, ideally wives getting along, or in your case, my wife, he does have a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I've actually told you about the conspiracy theory as well. That's exactly what I told you. Remember, I think we were at the wharf and I was saying, I think my dad actually thinks it because I say it so much,
Yeah.
and that's just all he knows.
Before you came here, we were actually having. What were we eating? We were eating something. I can't remember. Anyways, the point is, we were all chatting and Mark was just throwing slight mixed gay comments. Like really? Yeah, like he was saying stuff, and I was like, oh boy.
Here it goes. That's funny. That was a massive caveat, but nonetheless, to bring it full circle, what was the original point? It was judging, being able with opinions. Okay, do you guys understand the filtration process that I was explaining?
Yeah.
I'll explain to you how I got there. So the sculpted logo, 3 pillars, the 3 things that you strive to be every single day. For context, guys, I strive to be professional every single day. I strive to be dedicated every single day. I strive to give effort every single day. I strive to also be good. This is like the faithful part. This is fruits of the spirit: goodfulness, faithfulness, and joyfulness. And then additionally, for outside of that, like life, I try and be committed. I have to remember the vowels. I write them every night. So it's F, J, C, P. I try to be persistent, and then I try and be committed, persistent, and faithful, commitment. Sorry, the other 3. So committed, persistent, and then the last one's going to get me. I've named 8 out of the 9. I don't know if I'll be able to remember it off the dome. Nonetheless, it's in my journal every single night, and I write down how I try and be those 9 things. And anything outside of that filter goes outside, and nothing that is external feedback that is irrelevant to those 9 things. It's not a representation of me. Therefore, that opinion doesn't matter. And yeah, It just doesn't affect me. Do you guys understand that perspective? No?
Not really.
Okay. Let me summarize it short.
Did you understand?
I like half understand.
Yeah.
If you really know who you are and who you strive to be, then the opinions of others outside of those three things mean nothing to you because it means that they don't know you enough. So if I was to say, if someone was to criticize my professionalism, either they don't know me well enough or they're right. If someone was to critique my dedication, either they don't know me well enough or they're right. Therefore, any of those three, let's say, examples of social camaraderie, like belittling someone for social gain, or truth just packaged poorly, or truth packaged well, or something that's a misjudgment, there's no bad situation. All feedback is feedback. It can be packaged differently, but if it's true, then it's just going to help you. It's just going to make you more aware.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but if it's wrong, they just don't know you well enough.
What if you have this mentality that a lot of people don't know you well enough, but then you've got thousands of people who are telling you you're doing this wrong, but you're like, no, they just don't know you well enough. At what point does it get to
They're right.
maybe they're right? Yeah.
Are you lying to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I had this thought 2 days ago about Andrew Schultz. And Andrew Schultz is a famous podcaster, comedian.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. He is a friend of the pod. Would love to get him on.
Yeah.
I think that he's a little bit similar to myself in terms of he can be polarizing and a bit of a prick. Now, again, actually, we spoke about this with Arden on the Nelson Bay trip. Do you remember me saying how if you think that I am actually really arrogant and egotistical and a bit of a prick, you probably just don't know me well enough.
Yeah.
Because I would say that I am maybe those things, but not to the extent of which I might be portrayed. And I see how people could think that. But for example, it's not the things that I say, but it's the things that I do. It's just who I am. Like if I am to not drink alcohol where everyone else is drinking alcohol, it can offend people because it reflects their imperfections.
All the insecurities.
And all their insecurities. So it's like, just because I have made a decision, it makes me more offensive. And then I say something that could be, no, I decided not to drink alcohol because I believe it's poison. Right? I just make an outrageous claim like that. And then people start...
Yeah, outrageous because it's the truth. It is poison.
Exactly. But people then think that I'm being a prick. But so to you guys, you would know that that's actually just Nick. He's not being a prick. That's actually what he thinks. And in truth, that's what it is. But to the outside perspective, because it reflects an insecurity to them, they then think he's a prick. They just don't know him well enough. They don't know me well enough, right? Does that concept make sense to you guys?
Yeah, that makes sense to us.
Yeah, okay. Sweet. That was a good topic. Good topic. Land?
Yeah, that was the main part of the topic. We've got a lot more juice.
We'll go over that next
and
time.
we have 2 more segments that I can just pop over to the next one.
Yeah, I reckon we'll just go like quick last segment to wrap up.
Alright. Oh yeah, it's a quick one. Anyway, segment 3, moral dilemma. The gallows. You and your son are prisoners at a concentration camp.
Oh my gosh.
Your son tried to escape but was recaptured and sentenced to hang at the gallows. To send a message to all the others who may try to escape, the guard orders you to pull the chair out from under your son. If you refuse, the guard will kill your son and another innocent person in the camp. What do you do?
Is there any repercussions if you don't do it? Sorry.
Yeah, so you've got 2 options. You pull the son out from your son because the guard orders you to.
The chair out from your son.
That's the first option.
Yeah.
So technically you're killing your son.
Yeah.
Or you refuse and the guard will kill your son regardless,
Oh, okay.
and another innocent person.
Oh, bro. Could I take it for my son?
No.
Gecko. I swear to you, if that ever crawled on me, I'm actually moving out of the house, packing up my bags. Oh, it makes that noise as well.
What noise?
Oh, they like hiss at you.
Oh.
If anyone goes near that, it'll start to hiss at you. That is actually one of the craziest moral dilemmas.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's no win. Your son gets
There's
killed.
no- yeah. But the thing is, do you want to live,
Kill another life.
Do you want to live with that, knowing that you?
Killed 2 people.
Yeah, there's really like, I guess it sort of comes to selfishness. Do you want to live with the fact that you killed 2 people, or that you physically pulled the chair out from your son?
Yeah, if the objective remains the same, I think that I could get myself to a point where I would be able to rationalize pulling the chair from my son.
I don't know.
Because he'd get killed regardless. Like if I could do one of these ones, if I was to like, and the chair's there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's on my foot. If the chair's there, and I've got my foot there, and I'm just like pulling the chair out, you know, like one of them ones, the sneaky little one,
Yeah.
and I was to do this,
I think it's actually irrationalizing
Yeah.
the process.
but then the other person doesn't get killed.
Yeah, well,
That to me is the more selfless thing, because I will now live.
I would do the same thing as you, as
Yeah.
hard as it sounds.
Yeah, that's
But I
the
would
selfless
be
thing in my opinion.
Killing myself for like I wouldn't physically kill myself, but I'd be killing myself in my brain
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
But just the fact that my son's gonna die regardless, there's no need for
Another life. to be
another
lost.
life to be lost just because of my pride.
Yeah.
We'll just call it pride.
But I think it also it is sanity to a degree. It's like
Yeah.
that genuinely would do you, bro.
Sometimes you gotta, I guess it's sort of selfish to not do it just because you don't want to live with the guilt.
Yeah, that's kind of the conclusion that I come to. It's like you're rationalizing, he'd die either way. I don't want to take another life, although it's going to be ridiculously hard for me. That's what I mean by I think I could rationalize it by saying my son was going to die either way. I technically save a life, although it's really tough because I did it. I technically save a life by doing it to my son.
I feel like I would like to say that I would do the second option, but when you're actually in that moment, I don't know if I actually could. If I'm being completely honest,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could.
And what option? The second option. So the
Like, I think everyone would. The righteous thing to do is obviously the second option.
to not
to- To not sacrifice another life.
that was the first.
That was the second.
Oh yeah, that was the second option.
Order doesn't matter. You get the point.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what
Why
you're saying.
another person living in life? Obviously, that is the selfless thing to do, and not the selfish thing. But I just think at the moment, I don't think you can't actually comprehend how difficult it actually would be doing that unless you're actually in that position. And I don't know. I think it's. Yeah, I don't
So what would you do in the other situation? Because you wouldn't be able to save your son anyways.
You could hide away in your own depression and guilt and just like not do anything.
Yeah. Okay. That's that. But see, then you still live with them same skeletons.
Yeah, I know, but like you still haven't technically done it, so that's
Yeah.
Because if you're physically not able to bring yourself to do it, then I guess that's the only other way I could see things planning out.
That's what I'm saying.
Not to sound manipulative, but I'll probably get my boy in it. I'll probably say, no, we're doing this for a better cause, okay?
So you get your boy to do it if you can't do it.
No. Like, sorry, get my son to be in on it with me, but like,
That's crazy.
I know it's crazy, but it's like, son,
You're right. You're already coming.
can that make it?
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's a
Go
big cup. I try and get my son and like almost walk it through with him, like, oh, I would do everything I can to take it for my son. By the way.
What do you mean by that?
Right. Even that's crazy.
Even though I try and do everything I can do for my son, that I would replace him. But let's assume that's just out of the question, right?
Obviously, you'd be in complete denial when that situation becomes onto you from that moment. Like how you can't actually wrap your head around.
Oh yeah,
That. I don't think a conversation you'd be able to have.
yeah. Alfio biblical reference, it would be Isaac.
And Isaac, yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking about the whole time. Like that's the equivalent. Maybe we can give a quick summary to the listeners. It was Abraham, right?
Yeah. Father of the Jews.
Big ups, hope he's well friend of the pod. Crazy. Jesus said to him, no, God said to him,
God the Father.
God the Father, big ups, hope he's well friend of the pod as well. He said, Abraham, you have to sacrifice your son on this mountain. long story short, he did it. He didn't really tell his son what was happening, but puts him on the stone. And as soon as he lifts up his hand, you just hear a, nah, bro, don't do it. Then switches out a lamb instead.
Who said, nah, bro, don't do it, though?
God.
Yeah.
Thank you. And in that situation, essentially what that proved to God was Abraham was willing to sacrifice his own son for God and do everything that God said, obviously instilling trust.
It was an attestament to Abraham's faithfulness and a foreshadowing of what God was doing for us in the future with his own son.
Thank you for summarizing that well. Exactly. Because then God then sacrifices Jesus for us. And yeah, it's a pretty powerful one. I'd say it's very similar there, although, there's no sheep getting substituted for his boy. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think we landed on that one.
Yeah.
Charles, are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Calls to action?
Calls to action. Oh, guys, make sure you do like and subscribe. This has been a hectic episode for these boys. We've been eating, we've been getting shot at multiple times by bugs. If you haven't made it this far, you've seen it if you've made it this far. Make sure you download the SCULPTED app. Please subscribe. We are doing things increasingly every single day. I can't believe how privileged we are to continue doing this, and I'm thankful for everyone listening, watching, the boys behind the camera. It's amazing to be doing this, so please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Download the SCULPTED app, hit us up. If you've got any questions, moral dilemmas, make sure you let us know. Send us a message on Instagram. If you want to be featured in a question of the week, let us know. We've put the question out there, and make sure you interact with us because we've got some cool things coming soon. All things SCULPTED. And we will catch you in the next episode.
Good outro music.
Good outro. Gosh.
That's not one.